How's it going, my squids? Today we're going to be talking about some Skyforge. This game, honestly, just right out the gate, is pretty awesome. This is a bit of a review, not necessarily because the game's been out for a while, and I even played it on its launch, so I kind of didn't even give it a chance at the launch, but I'm playing it now for a few different reasons, mainly because there's not much to play at the moment. I'm just kind of bored, and I'm just messing around, and I just happened to be playing Skyforge again, and I was like, I really didn't give this game a chance because it actually blew my mind and just wowed me for a good while, and it's still wowing me even today. I'm very, very pleased with it and how it's come. It does have its ups and downs, of course, so we're going to go over that right now. So Skyforge is your standard MMORPG, and what I don't even know why I said standard. It's not your standard. It's very different from your traditional MMORPG. Yes, it has instances, dungeons, classes, leveling, blah blah blah, of course, but the style is very unique. It's like Greek mythology mixed with futuristic sci-fi settings, and it's just kind of a little hard to classify and put it into a category. It is an MMORPG, but as to what kind of style it takes after, I'd probably just say science fiction. Like I said, it does have Greek mythology, like there's Thanatos in this, there's gods and whatnot, and you yourself can even become a god in this game as well. You unlock a divine form, which basically makes you a god, and that's pretty cool. But for the most part, I'd just say it's science fiction, just for, simplicity purposes. So let's go over just kind of the key points of an MMORPG. So the grind, that's one of the things that is always something you want to talk about, because if it's not fun, you're not going to want to play it. You're not going to want to grind the game. And also there has to be a sense of progression and a bit of a reward to kind of make sure that the grind is even worth it. So let's talk about, is it fun? Yes, the grind is actually very satisfying. The combat, which I'll talk about a little bit later on, is very satisfying, very fun. The variety of classes and choices that you actually have within the game makes the grind even more fun, because if you're willing to spend the money, I'll talk about that a little bit later as well, but if you're willing to spend a little bit of cash to get the classes earlier than usual, then you'll be even more fun, because then you can refresh the game every now and then by switching the classes up and being able to actually play different play styles, and it makes the game a bit more fun. But the combat itself, whether you're playing the Cryomancer, the Lightbinder, or the Paladin, those are the three classes you get right out the gate, and honestly all of them are super fun to play, and you won't be satisfied or you won't be dissatisfied with any of those. They are all very fun to play, especially the Cryomancer. Super high mobility, ice powers, and it's super dope. Really, the Cryomancer is probably one of my favorites. I own like 6 different classes, and the Cryomancer is still my go-to play. Like, it's nuts. Next up, let's talk about the progression. So this is where things get a little janky, right? There is a sense of progression, right? But it can be a little slow. You definitely don't need to spend money on the game, but if you're playing this game at a casual level, it can definitely take you a long time to actually get another class, which kind of sucks. I would say that they need to tone it down just a little bit. Basically, if you want to unlock other classes, you need these sparks. So I forgot what they're actually called, but I'm just going to refer to them as sparks. You need 25,000 sparks in order to unlock another class, and I'd say that's a bit much. For me, I've been playing the game for like a whole, I don't know, I think a week now or something, and I only managed to just now unlock another class. Some people might say that's not that bad, but I have paid for stuff before, and I also am a premium member as well, so don't get the wrong idea. It's normally not that fast. I imagine you're looking around the time frame of like 2 to 3 weeks maybe just to unlock another class, and that's consistently playing. I've been playing for about over 3 to 4 hours a day, so if that's not within your time schedule, that could definitely be a bit of a turn off there, because you want another class, and you're tired of playing these other 3, which I imagine you won't be tired of playing the 3 classes right away. They're all pretty fun, and the combat makes up for it. So there is a sense of progression, but it can be a bit slow, and if you're getting tired of the classes, you might just break down and be like, this is too boring for me and I want to leave. But I don't necessarily think that'll happen. It didn't happen with me. I don't think it will happen with you if you have the attention span for it and if you really want to work at it. Alright, so let's talk about the pay to win aspects here. So as I said, you don't need to pay for anything in this game. You can actually buy everything in the game yourself. You can buy all your slots by yourself. You can buy pretty much all the classes by yourself. You can literally just, you know, in terms of comparing it in the pay to win aspects, it's kind of like Warframe. You don't need to pay for shit, but if you do, you'll get ahead in the game really far, really fast, so that's up to you. But you really don't need to pay for anything in order to get good at the game. You really don't. Honestly, a lot of free-to-play MMORPGs could really learn something from Skyforge, because the way they've handled the money system in terms of just, you know, like DLC and buying weapons and packs and skins and whatnot, they handle that very beautifully, and it's one of the best ways in order to handle like microtransactions realistically. Even the idea with having a premium membership, you really don't even need that. There is somewhat of a difference in credits and whatnot whenever you do have a premium membership, but I would argue that it's not even remotely necessary, and it doesn't have a huge impact comparatively to some other games that are out there trying to run the same kind of system. Skyforge has done a really well job, or a really good job, in terms of just running a premium system, microtransactions and whatnot, and you really feel like you don't need to spend the cash at all. Honestly, if you spend cash on Skyforge, you're really just doing it for charity, because, I mean, it's only going to make the game better than what it already is. So, if you do spend money on it, hey, but good on you, man. Fucking support the shit out of the game. It's a really good game. Now, let's talk about the classes. There are 16 playable classes, 3 of those which are the Cryomancer, Lightbinder, and Paladin that you get right out the gate. There is a team coordination in this, so there is a, you know, traditional MMORPG style, tanks, healers, DPS, so it's definitely not like let's say BDO, for example, where it doesn't really have instances and there's no such thing as like tanks or whatever. You kind of just, you know, play the game to have fun or do whatever. This has got more of a traditional style MMORPG. That being said, all the classes play very differently. They're all very satisfying. I can't really say all, but I mean, I have about 6 of them, and they play all very differently. I have like 4 DPS, I think, and 1 tank, and honestly, I love them all. They all do crazy mobility stuff. They all do good damage. They all feel super satisfying. I can't not praise that. It's insane how there's this kind of level of variety, and it still has this satisfying and different feeling for each class. You would think that with that much of a variety, some of the classes would resemble the other, but they really don't. They're all very different with crazy different playstyles. It's absolutely disgusting how good it is. But that's enough about the good for right now. Let's kind of talk about the bad. So, you know, with any kind of MMORPG, there's always got its problems, whether it be microtransactions, glitches in the game, play style, and how much of the grind is and whatnot. This one, the main problem I have is there's a few glitches that I would very much like fixed. First glitch is this shitty mount glitch. I hate it when this happens. For whatever reason, whenever you transport to another area and you're mounted on some kind of, you know, mount, of course, it registers that you're still on the mount even though you get off, and it just shows you riding the fucking air. It does this literally all the time, every day. There's not a single day that has gone by where it has not happened to me, and it's not a huge deal breaker. It's just annoying. It just looks stupid, and it frustrates me because I can't see the animations. I feel like I walk super slow. It just sucks. It's super annoying. Next thing that I would like to talk about that, again, is not really a deal breaker, it's more nitpicking. There is a gesture that's basically an unstuck button, which tells me that this game is kind of poorly managed. Same thing with the glitch before that I was talking about. If there's a button to get unstuck, that tells me that there are players getting stuck way too much, and that's just why. And this has actually happened to me once or twice, where I thought I could go in this river or lake or whatever. Turns out the lake just fucking sinks into the ground, and you're just stuck in there looking like an idiot. And yeah, you can teleport, yeah, you can use the unstuck button, but why? Why is that even there? Why not just put a barrier? If there's physically nothing in that area, why even allow players to go into it? It just doesn't really make a lot of sense. You might as well just put a barrier, because there's not a lot of barriers, or I mean, there is a lot of barriers in the game, so you might as well put some where they're actually needed. Which brings me to my next point about barriers. This game does not exactly promote exploration. It's not that kind of game, realistically. It's more of a... instance kind of dungeon, you know, raids and whatnot. You're kind of going into instances, you know, going through the motions, fighting bosses and whatnot, you know, traditional stuff, right? That's kind of the goal here. Yeah, there are certain missions where you can actually go into a little bit of an open world aspect, and the maps are pretty decently sized, but in terms of exploration, like exploring all the different vast worlds of World of Warcraft and whatnot, there's none of that. So it's not an open world thing. You're more or less thinking of, like, let's take, if you played Warframe, think of Plains of Edelon. There are areas that are like Plains of Edelon where you can just go there, you know, go around. It's a really big map. There's things to do in it, a bunch of quests and whatnot. You can do that. And then you've got the regular missions where it's just kind of you're going through the motions, doing just, you know, going whatever. There's barriers and whatnot. It's not open world exploration. So it's kind of that same aspect. So if you're looking for exploration, this is probably not the game for you, but I'd say still give it a try. It's still worth it in my opinion. It's just, if you, like I said, if you're looking for that sort of thing, this isn't really the one for you. Next thing that I like to talk about, there's kind of a bit of a balancing issue here, and it's not. I'm not speaking about PvP because I have yet to experience PvP yet, so I won't speak on that too much. But from what I've read, there is a bit of an unbalancing there. From what I've read on Reddit and other posts and whatnot, the Outlaw and the Revenant kind of are just super dominant. The Necromancer is really good because it never dies. There's just a few classes that are a bit too broken from what I'm reading, and as far as what I'm talking about in terms of PvE, I'd say there's the balancing issue is not really that there's broken classes. I'd say that there are classes that aren't even remotely playable. Yeah, there's a lot of variety. Yeah, they're really good and whatnot in terms of just, you know, fun playstyle, but some of them are just downright useless. Like the Kinetic, for example, is a super cool class. That dude's basically just a mechanical earthbender, but like it's so useless. Like he's more of like a CC support or whatever kind of utility support, but like it's not good enough. Why would you ever play it when you could play one-shot Revenant? So like, I just, you know, I don't really understand. The Kinetic is categorized as a DPS, if I remember correctly, and yet its damage is so mediocre that it's completely useless, and the CC isn't even that good. It's like, why would you bother playing this? You might as well play something that's a bit more damagey, something that has, you know, more of a tanky feel to it and whatever. It's just, you know, and this isn't just about the Kinetic too. The Slayer isn't very good. The Berserker's not very good. And this is also, you know, me doing a little bit of research as well, where I've read, you know, tier lists and people talking about these classes. So the best classes at the moment from what I'm reading, Outlaw is super good, Revenant super good, Necromancer's tops, Monk is pretty good. There's a few others that I can't remember off the top of my head, but those are pretty much the top that are at the moment. And with that being said, it's kind of like, why have the variety if the classes are kind of just unplayable and useless? You're never going to really get to play them in a real scenario, and even for just having fun and dicking around, it's not really that good of an experience. You kind of just you're trying to have fun playing this, you know, really ugly class that doesn't work, and it's not fun because you're getting shit on. So it's a bit of an unbalance there. Last thing I would like to talk about is costumes. This is kind of good and bad. One, the costumes you can actually unlock in the game. Each class has its own personal costume that looks really dope whenever you max out the class, which is super nice. I like that. And then there are other costumes that you can get, you know, through events, things that are going on in the game, missions and whatnot. So there is variety, but I would argue that though there is a variety of ways to unlock costumes for free, I would say that they're pretty ass. Like the event that's going on right now, there is a really shitty costume where it's just you turn into like some kind of fucking hula dancer or something. I don't know, you look like a flame twirler, and it just doesn't look that cool. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's an event thing. It's for, like, you know, the summer, I'm pretty sure, or something on the lines of that, and I get it, but I don't really see the importance in that. And then some of the costumes that you can actually buy, I would not buy any of the costumes. Some of them are just recolors of the classes. Some of them are just not even cool looking, and I would say that up the design up a little bit. Just kind of change it up. and kind of fix the design, because I'm not a huge fan of a lot of the costumes in the game, and I would prefer a bit more variety. Overall, Skyforge is super good. I don't want to make this review too long. If you guys have any questions, please put them in the comment section down below, and I will do my best to answer all of them. This game is honestly really good. If you haven't played it yet, or if you played it before and you didn't like it before, give it a try now. I'd say that it's pretty good, and it holds up in terms of free-to-play MMORPGs on console. I'm gonna go as far as to say it's the best one, hands down. I can't think of any other one that actually comes even remotely close in terms of free-to-play. You don't have to pay to win in any situation. The variety and all this other stuff, nothing comes close on console other than Skyforge. Skyforge, in my personal opinion, is the best free-to-play MMORPG right now on console. Anyway, that concludes today's video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Peace.